How good's that view? Yes, as you can see, I'm still at Lake Oberon Estate, a magnificent facility. Got some stuff there we've got to put away from the Bathurst show yesterday. That in there is just one of the meeting rooms available at this magnificent facility. And this is a little outdoor eatery, pizza oven there, and get a load of this. Yes, back again. Bit of a mechanical buff, we love him to pieces, and he's been helping me with a couple of little issues, lights being one. So those driving lights, the big spotties that you see there, haven't been working, and let me show you why they weren't working. We thought it might have had something to do with a fuse. Turns out, not so much a fuse problem, more a heat problem. If we get this out in the light, you might be able to see that a bit better. So these cables were run in a fashion that at the time we believed would not attract any heat or wouldn't be too hassled by the heat, but these are melted together now. They're basically one single cable. And that shorted them, of course, and that meant it doesn't work anymore. So Tony, let me just poke you under the side of the bus here for a minute. Tony said, "Oh, I can fix that, mate. That'll be easy. That'll be great. No worries. Won't take me long." And as you can see, famous last words. It took about, what, 4 hours, mate?
Yeah.
And then that's my host, Tony. You can see at least the top of his head there. We've made a couple of interesting discoveries. Tony has a mate called Brian, absolute wonderful human being, who knows a lot about trucks. So Brian turned up last night to give us a little bit of a help with finding a couple of pieces and deciding whether or not this big petrol engine can be pulled out and maybe a diesel engine in, and at what sort of price we'd be looking at. So he crawled underneath, which I'll show you. So as you can see, we're up on the stilts here. The legs are down, enough room there. You can see the other side of Tony. I won't give you a crutch shot because he's embarrassed. Like a good Greek, you know how they are. And what he discovered was a little disconcerting. So you'll remember, of course, that the vehicle was running on LPG. And I had a back blast out of it. I tried starting it on LPG like an idiot. She coughed and she banged and she blew a lot of bits off. Well, apparently she blew a lot more bits off than we originally thought. Last night, Brian and Tony climbed up in the dark and were having a bit of a look, measuring the engine. And while measuring the engine, they discovered that in my V10 motor, which has 2 banks of pistons, 5 aside, therefore there is an exhaust manifold on either side of the engine. The left side of the engine, that bank, usually that manifold is held on with 10 bolts, or 10 nuts and 10 bolts. There was 1 nut left on them. And on the right bank, there were 4 nuts, all loose, and 6 missing completely. So the only reason that my exhaust manifold was actually still hanging on was the fact that it was welded into place, because it all comes out into a single system. So essentially the 2 arms of the exhaust manifold were, while still hooked up and still on, they weren't on tightly. That also means that there's a bit of exhaust gas getting out into places where it shouldn't, and hence that hot gas blowing into an area where we thought there'd be no hot gases when we laid the lights. And of course, that's where the hot gases have been going. Isn't that fun? So, yeah, bit of a problem. 20 new nuts, and that's what Tony, who you may or may not be able to see under the bus there at the moment, is...
If you bring your camera up.
Okay, hang on a minute. Tony's going to show us what he's doing. So hang on, I'll pass you through.
I don't think the human body was designed to bend as much.
Probably not.
All right, here we go. So, okay, they're the nuts that we've actually replaced, and there's about 5 on the bottom, and then there's 5 across the top, so I can't actually see those. I've got a feel for those. and then there's the same on the other side. And yesterday what we found is that there was, I think, 2 bolts on this side holding this manifold on, and there was 1 on the other side. So hopefully we can rectify that probably the next half hour.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. All right. Over to you, Carl.
Thank you, buddy. That's about
Can you go?
Cheers. All right, so that's the story so far. So yeah, we're going to spend another day here at Oberon before leaving. And Tony has turned into one of the best mates I've ever had. And food, my God, folks, food. If you're a foodie, you need to come and meet Tony and Julie Alvarez. Especially if you're a souvlaki lover, because he does a very special souvlaki.
Lots of love in it.
And I cannot, lots of love in the souvlaki. And I cannot recommend Lake Oberon Estate to you highly enough, folks. If you are looking for a family retreat, a family getaway where you can take not just your immediate family, but maybe some extended family, this absolutely stunning chalet there that you're only seeing the edge of, you can put, 10 people in there if you really had to. There are 3 chalets capable of holding that many people. And then there is this little one that I'm crashing in. This is the main office.
4 chalets.
Oh, 4 chalets? Oh, there you go. And then that door there leads upstairs to where I'm staying in the honeymoon suite, which is absolutely spectacular and well insulated for obvious reasons. So if you are at all interested in a beautiful bit of a getaway and you don't mind a little crisp winter morning air, you will love it here. And guess what? In that lake out there, trout. And you've got lakefront access straight from Lake Oberon Estate. And Tony reckons he knows how to find the fish. Yeah, he doesn't catch them, but he just knows they're in there. So he'll be all care, no responsibility when he... Yeah, Tony reckons the easiest way to catch him is with a hand grenade. That could be the case. And I don't know that I've showed you the little pond area that they have here beside our salubrious accommodations. Obviously mosquitoes or something on the pond, and just skimming across the water, and yeah, doing it really well. So my connection here, I think I'm working off the 4G phone connection. I do have my modem set up upstairs, but I think the phone is just working off itself. So if it is dropping out, I do apologise. But Lake Oberon Estate, and you can see the lake down there in the distance. If you like golf, there's a golf course on the other side of the lake. It's probably at the most maybe a 10-minute drive, and you can go and thwack your life away if that's the way you feel it. But just a magnificent, absolutely magnificent retreat. If you have a work seminar or something like that that's going to require a few people and a bit of privacy, then this is exactly the place for you. Fully catered. They've got all the AV facilities that you'd ever need in their conference centre, and that's where we held our seminar the other night, which is just up that way. And then, of course, there's this little room over here, which is for smaller groups. To give you a little bit of a look at the chalets, if you haven't seen them already, this is chalet number 1. That is chalet number 2. The large building in the middle is, in fact, the conference centre. Chalet number 3 is after that. And right down the very end is a gym that's better fitted out than most gyms I've lived in or been to inside high-rise apartment buildings in Surfers Paradise, where I used to live. Don't want to go and get too socially excited. But I've got to tell you, folks, what a beautiful part of the world to hang out in. Truly, truly magnificent. I've enjoyed my stay here. I can't tell you how much. I don't have the words. And the help that Tony has given me, I'm indebted to this man and his family. They've treated me like one of their own for the last few days, and I can't thank them enough. And to be able to do this work on the bus, because I'm not capable of it, I wouldn't know what I was doing. I'm just blown away. I'm eternally grateful for all of you, because I know if you had these skills, you'd do this for me too. So I just wanted to say thank you, and especially express my gratitude to Tony and his family. because they are doing a truly magnificent job. And Tony's doing it from 4 feet under the bus.
Yeah, they're trying to anyway.
So now our lights are working again. Look out. As a truck driver once said to me when I accidentally caught him with my high beams driving to Adelaide one night, he said, "Bloody hell, what are you, the second sun?" Yes, there's an awful lot of light there. I can see about 3 kilometres ahead of me. If my eyes would see that far, that'd be fabulous. But anyway, it is what it is. All right, folks. There will be a show a bit later on today. I haven't done much research, I've got to say. We've been back to Bathurst this morning to buy parts for the bus, and now we're putting them together. I've actually been working on tyre pressures, believe it or not. You might see down here, that's a tyre pressure monitor. Of course, I've got 2 tyres on this wheel, and I'm missing a monitor on the inside wheel. So I do have a spare. In fact, I had 2 spares. We put one on the front right-hand wheel because I destroyed one of those when we had a bit of an issue with a tyre valve extender down in Melton a little while back. So we've now found another tyre extender, which has worked really well. And I will stick the other tyre monitor on there, but my tyre monitor machine doesn't want to pick them up, which is a bit rude. So if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about with the tyre extension, a valve extension, that's what it is. This is a metal bit that goes into my valve, which is further deeper in under this cover, and that's all it is. It's a cover. It's only held on by 3 of those, or 2 of those bolts actually. So the others are all there for just for good looks. So that's what a valve extender is, and that's what a tyre pressure monitor is. And if anybody knows how to get that tyre pressure monitor to read on my tyre pressure monitor thing in the cabin, please email me, carl@vofhq.com, because Tony's lost on that one. And if you were wondering just exactly what a bus on stilts looks like, and a good little Greek fella in the background, that's what it does. So the bus will actually lift itself up. Well, front tyre is probably a good 5 inches off the ground.
It's useful.
So yeah, very useful. Gives a lot of room to work underneath the bus, and yeah, when you drop it, it's a much tighter area to move. So Tony, thank you very much for everything you're doing for me, mate.
Not a problem. You've got to be safe, mate. You're a national treasure.
Well, you're the treasure, mate. You and your wife and your wonderful daughter Nicole, who have made me feel like family for the last few days, mate. I just want to thank you publicly for everything that you've done since I've turned up. I couldn't have, in my wildest dreams, expected the kind of hospitality you've shown us, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
You're a great guy to have around. You want to show the crankcase ventilation hole up the top? That's another problem.
Oh yeah, we haven't told you about that bit. All right. So, yeah, the crankcase ventilation hole. All right. Who knew there was such a thing? All right, beware, folks. The bus is an absolute mess inside, as it is outside. Practically, I had to unload half the bus to find half the things we needed, and inside isn't much better. But you want to see what the top of a V10 looks like? Here's the top of the motor. Now, the interesting part here is, I think I told you that we blew a few holes in hoses and there was a lot of gaffer tape involved. Well, that's an indication of some of the gaffer tape. That's the air intake, and it's held together by duct tape, is probably a better way of putting it. Now, I'm not sure if you will be able to see that hole down there? Well, that hole down there has a little thing that goes into it, and that connects to that hose there. And what happens is oil, it's an oil breather hole. So oil in the top of the rocket cover there gets pushed up, and if there's any need for it to go out anywhere, it comes out through the exhaust gases and it gets fed back into the motor again to be cleaned. Now, I did know that the old girl was a bit fumey when I started her, but apparently part of the reason for that is I was filling up with exhaust gas. The good thing about that, and the fact that it didn't kill me or send me to sleep while I was driving, is the fact that I'm on hydrogen, because there's not too much left in that exhaust gas that's noxious. Everything is burnt with the hydrogen. That's why I only smelt the fumes when I first started the bus. After 6 seconds, my hydrogen kicks in, and she burns a lot cleaner, therefore no more fumes. However, that doesn't mean that the oil isn't going to come out. And what's directly underneath that, if I can put you down there, is the exhaust manifold. Now, should I have been... I mean, I seriously have been very, very lucky here, folks. If any of the oil coming out of that little hole had have got onto the exhaust manifold, I would have been a mobile bushfire travelling down the road. The whole thing would have caught fire. So I'm eternally grateful for people like Tony and his mate Brian, who found these problems and not just found them for me and said, your problem. They've actively told me how to fix them, and Tony himself has gone out to help me fix it. So I'm eternally grateful. This means that it's likely to be a lot quieter in here now. Part of the problem that we have is that I've blown an exhaust gasket, but we are relocating what's left of the exhaust gasket in a way that will give us a bit more of a seal. So hopefully that'll improve, but yeah, we need an exhaust gasket. And these are interesting ones. I may have a spare one somewhere, but I thought I did have a row of them, but turns out we don't need a row. It's a singular kind of thing. So I might have one of those somewhere. We'll see what we can find, but that's a job for another day. We can still travel along with a blown exhaust gasket, okay, for a while. And if we patch it the way that we're patching it, it should work.
95%.
Yeah, 95% of it should be fine, says the mechanic underneath me. So, so I'm going with his knowledge a lot better than mine, put it that way. Yeah, Paul, I think the one above is watching over me. You're 100% right. I've been talking to the good Lord on a very regular basis, and he brings me to people who help, who know what to look for, who I'm lost for words. I'm humbled by what's happening. So thank you to the Alvarez family, thank you to Tony particularly, and thank you to you folks, because we couldn't be doing this without you. So this afternoon, God knows what sort of a show it'll be. I'll have a lot to say about what's happened at the Westfield in Bondi Junction. 100% convinced this is a false flag event. And as I said in the live yesterday, we are watching a movie, and yes, unfortunately, it is a snuff movie. People will die, but it is a movie. Doesn't take the edge off, but it is a movie. Don't get scared. Don't get frightened. Be encouraged. Be brave. That's all it takes. Standing up. Be brave. Love you all, folks. We'll talk to you again a little later on this afternoon. If you're heading out in the beautiful New South Wales sunlight, oh well, we got sprayed earlier, so the clouds are coming. Yeah, wherever you are, I hope it's a beautiful day. Be safe on the roads and watch out for the dickheads. I'll talk to you a bit later on.